All right, so I think I need to sit down and talk with you guys and talk about how you can 10x and scale up your entire trading journey. And this is not by risking more, it's not by catching bigger moves, but it's completely rewiring your brain and how you operate as a trader, how you build habits, and that actually consistently print you money and obviously can bring you success. So let's start off with the foundation is um, knowing your setup. I feel like this is oh fuck, wrong one. I feel like this is a very simple thing that a lot of people just overlook and they misunderstand. The biggest thing that I see, like the number one biggest thing that I see is, especially for newer traders, is they completely strategy hop. So for one day they're going to be on ICT or their TGR strategy, whatever. The next day they're going to be on supply demand. And then the next day they see some YouTuber making $50,000 in one trade, which is cool. But at the same time, they're gonna try to learn that. They're gonna like start on one path and then just gonna try to cross over to the other, and they're gonna have a bunch of different confluences in their head, and they don't know which one to use completely. Um, and so like you can't just continue to keep on changing it. To think about it like this. So let's just say if you don't have 10 hands, obviously we only have two hands. Okay, we don't have 10 hands, but you try to do 10 different things at one time. Why would you want to do all those 10 different things if you only have two hands? Obviously, you can only do one certain thing at a time. All right. So you need to have a complete, complete setup that is completely clear that you completely trust. So let's just say you know this trade, this certain setup inside and out. You've back tested this. You've seen successes from this. You've seen other people on YouTube succeed from this exact same setup. You've back tested this. Like I said, you've journaled it. You have data backing you up. That's the type of setup that you should be taking, because when you know your setup, you build a bunch of conviction, and with conviction, it completely eliminates and decreases the chance of you being confused within the market. So let's just say, for example, you're kind of just sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, like, oh, like, I see this fair value gap right here, but then you're thinking to yourself, like, should I take this trade? Like instantly when you see something, you should be thinking to yourself, I should be either yes taking this trade or no, I should not be taking this trade. Okay, so obviously, if you don't see something that aligns with your setup, it's not A plus, you should not be taking it. It's a very simple thing. If it does not apply to your setup, if it is not an A plus setup, do not take it. It's very simple. Okay, it's either a yes or no question. Find your edge, sharpen it, and completely block everything else out. Okay, so now the next thing is going to be kind of expanding on to what we were just talking about, is eliminating any certain noise. Okay, so that's going to be cutting out noise from Twitter, Discord, YouTube, and just like all of the information that you see everywhere, all over social media, all that kind of stuff. Because all you're gonna have is just a information overload. So you're gonna have too much things going on at the same time, and you don't know exactly how to filter it. So let's just say, for example, how we were talking about earlier, you're watching someone else make money that's on a setup that's not completely your setup. Okay, so now you're gonna start doubting yourself, like oh, like my setup's not showing up as much, but I see this other guy's, popping up pretty much every single time. So what you're gonna start thinking to yourself is like, oh, I should probably move over to what he's doing, or I'm gonna start doubting myself that like, hey, like he's doing so much better than I am. What the fuck am I doing wrong? So another thing you should be doing is not comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 25. So let's just say, for example, we got like a brand new fresh trader who's just now finishing TGR's like boot camp. Okay, he's gonna be on his like 1 week of back testing, and he's gonna compare himself to TGR. He's gonna be like, oh my gosh, like this guy's doing so well, and I'm failing all my trades. All my trades are losing. That to me, when I see something like that, and I see it very often within my Discord, I see it very often. You're completely convicting yourself that you're a bad trader, but all you need to realize is that he's on his chapter 25, 30, whatever, whatever chapter you want to think of it as. He's on a completely different level than you are. You are at the very beginning of your journey versus someone else's. Okay, so executing the exact same plan over and over again um, builds almost like a mastery from repetition. It's not variety, but it's from repetition. Okay, and the moment you stop chasing all the big moves and you start chasing your own moves, you go from kind of guessing on your trades to trading with a purpose. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is how to be an observer instead of a controller. Okay, So being an observer versus a controller, I feel like too many traders approach the market using their own will. You know, I want to be able to make $300 today. I hope this goes up. You know, also thinking that like, oh, this might be my setup. You know, let me just gonna tell you right now that the market gives zero fucks about you and it does not care a single thing about you. Okay, it's your job not to predict what the market's going to do. It's your job to observe what the market does and will continue to do. Okay, so watching price action is basically like kind of like reading a book. All right, you're reading a story unfold. um, you're not the one who's in control. You're not the one who's writing a book. The author is. So obviously the market makers, the market, whoever you think is controlling in the market. Don't be the person. Don't be that type of person who's gonna be like, oh yeah, I already know how this story's gonna end just by reading the title. No, that doesn't make sense. It makes zero sense. Okay, and this just goes back to the same thing. If it's not your setup, don't take it. All right, I promise you, the discipline to do nothing is one of the highest levels of trading maturity um, that like you'll ever see in anyone. So I feel like only profitable people, so people who've been doing this for over 2 years, actually understand this. That like, hey, like I could come into today saying I'm not gonna be trading because the market doesn't look good, or if I don't see my setup, I'm just gonna say off for today. I'm gonna sit on my hands and do that. You know, I always tell my Discord if London session or Asia session doesn't look the best and I don't have a clear setup or a drawn liquidity for the day, I always tell people be okay with not taking a trade. You know, what's going to happen if you just take one day off or you know, even a whole week. There's been weeks where I have not taken a single trade. Just recently in February, there was a whole week where I just didn't see my setup, so I didn't trade. Okay, I just sat back, I journaled everything, I collected a bunch of data and all that type of stuff. I didn't want to trade because I didn't want to put too much risk on the table without having a certain um, tendency to actually take a trade. Okay, so another thing is getting into the next thing is seeking habits instead of profits. Okay, so I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. Most of you guys are addicted to the money instead of the process, and you might be telling yourself that you're not addicted to you're not profit driven, but you're process driven. So, but I'm gonna tell you guys right now, if you're blowing accounts, if you're blowing funded accounts and blowing a bunch of money on it, you're probably in that position that you're just, you know, you're profit driven. Okay, so what you're supposed to do instead of seeking profits, you're supposed to seek habits. Okay, so you think a green day means that you know you're kind of good, and then the red day means that you're bad. Okay, so that's like completely emotionally gambling. Okay, so instead you should be tracking all of your inputs. So did you follow your rules? Did you size correctly? Did you take the exact setup that you look for every single day? Or did you not even trade? Okay, if you understood all of those things, if you come into a trade and or like if you exit a trade and you're like, okay, did I follow my setup? Did I follow all my rules? Did I size correctly? You know, did I see exactly what I wanted to? If yes, that's your win right there. It doesn't matter if you took a loss or a win. Okay, if I come into the markets and I see my setup, let's just say for example, I see a beautiful setup, A plus setup, and I take a loss on that trade. However, if I followed all of my rules correctly, you know, it's not something that I did completely wrong. It's something that I could go back and understand a little bit better of what I should be doing differently. So, like I said, it doesn't matter if you win or lose a trade. As long as you follow all of your own rules, you're good. Count that as a victory for yourself because a lot of people nowadays cannot even stick to a simple rule that they make for themselves. You know, one trade a day. Like I tell this to a lot of people. If you see my old videos, you'll see on there. I got a video titled "One Trade a Day Keeps the 9 to 5 Away." It's that simple because you don't need too much. You just need one simple trade, and then you're good for the rest of the day. You know, you can make someone's weekly salary in just one trade. Okay, that's it. It's also not about, you know, just taking one trade that makes you a profitable trader. It's about taking over, you know, thousands of trades, and that really determines like how you are as a person or how you are as a trader. If you build good habits, the profits will come eventually. So that's why I'd like to tell people, don't look at the profit, don't look at the money. On TradingView, on TopStep X, wherever you trade on, you're able to change Let's just say for example, if you get into a trade, you see the dollar amount on there, you could change that to ticks or points, so you don't have to look at the dollar amount, and that completely changes your perspective of your trade and the money that it comes with trading. So another thing as well, I'm gonna hit you guys with this. Let me change this. Um, don't try to act like you're a profitable trader. You have to become one. Okay, so you have to become one. It's about the identity that you are. Okay, so if you don't just want to follow all of your rules, you want to be the type of person that who truly follows all the rules. Okay, you have to stick to your rules every single day. You don't. You want to be basically like discipline. It has to be automatic, like kind of like brushing your teeth almost. Okay, so because when discipline is like an identity based, it's almost like it's effortless. Okay, it just comes. Like, think about it. Drinking water, I don't think about drinking water. It just comes. Like, it just, my body tells me, yo, you're thirsty, drink some water. That's the same thing with being disciplined. You're supposed to know all the things that you see in the market. Okay, whether it's like, you know, seeing your setup. Simple. Seeing your setup. It's the same thing as seeing your drinking water. It comes to you. Your brain tells you you got to drink water. It's the same thing as your setup popping up on your screen. And you shouldn't be revenge trading, because um, that type of trading is just totally out of this concept. So like, if you're revenge trading, I think you need to be able to step back and tell yourself what you're doing wrong and why you're doing this. Okay, firstly, you need to realize why you took that loss, and realize, why did I take that loss? Secondly, if you go back and completely revenge trade, then you're doing something completely wrong. You need to take a step back and see what you're doing wrong. Okay. Now, another thing that I like to tell people is getting a mentor. Okay, so you don't have to do it, but I really recommend it to people. You can absolutely figure this all out on yourself. I personally did for a while before I got my own mentor. But you're gonna waste like 2, 3, maybe even like 5 years before someone like can actually teach you what you've been trying to learn in like 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so a coach or a mentor literally just like shortens your learning curve like by a huge amount. So whether it's from me or any other mentor that you see online, they've been in we or anyone has been in your exact shoes, and they know exactly how you feel, how to be in that exact same spot that you are currently in. So like, personally, I know a lot of people within my Discord, they come to me saying, Daniel, I feel lost right now. I have no idea what to do. This isn't working for me. I always tell them, dude, I've been in your exact same shoes. I know exactly how you feel. This is exactly how you're going to fix your problem. Boom. Just like that. You need to be able to see all the blind spots that you have. So, um, they've been like, all these mentors, all these things, we've made the exact same mistakes. They know what's noise versus what's signals that's telling me to enter a trade. Okay, so if you pay for a mentorship, and like, you pay thousands of dollars for a mentorship, treat it as it's like a business expense. But if you really think about it, like, that's really what it is. It's just a business expense. Okay, trading is a business. A lot of people don't think of it that way, because there's no actual you're not dealing with people, you're not dealing with products, you're not dealing with customers, whatever. This is still a business. You're bringing in profits, you're spending money on business expenses, such as a mentorship, or prop firms, whatever it could be. So most of the top traders that I personally know have had guidance from someone. They've had mentors and stuff like that. You really do not need to do this alone. All right. I've when I very first started, I didn't have anyone to ask all these questions. I literally had like a list of questions I wanted to ask someone when I was going to, like, if I ever met like a trader in public, I would literally ask them all these questions. But it just helps you speed up your process. So if you're really interested, I have a one-on-one mentorship. Just click the description, the link in my description. I do one-on-one mentorships for completely for free. I give live trade callouts, weekly calls within my entire Discord, and just like a bunch of free stuff in there. If you're interested, just click the link in the description and we'll get you started in there. So another thing as well is completely detaching yourself from the outcome. Okay, so I'll say that again. You are not your P&L. Okay, so think about that. Okay, you're gonna have red days. You're gonna have losses. You're gonna blow funded accounts, but that's just part of the game. Okay, it's literally part of trading. Why do you think 99% of people quit versus 1% actually become successful with this? It's because there's so many losses to this that people just don't understand how much it comes with it. You're gonna feel like super wrecked after your losses. You're gonna be checking your balance after every trade. But that's really not trading. That's actual, like, how do you call it? Like emotional self destruction almost. Like you're basically feeding yourself all these negative things, like telling yourself that you're not gonna make it because you just took a huge loss. But that really doesn't like that should not affect you at a certain point. So you gotta completely detach yourself from any type of progress based emotions. All right, focus on execution and basically ask yourself every time you're done with a trade, did I follow my setup? Okay, was the setup clean? Did I follow my rules? Was I present? Was I focused? Was I on my phone? Was I scrolling on TikTok? Whatever. You need to realize, ask yourself these questions every single time when you're done with your trade. You always need to ask yourself these questions because that's the thing that will bring you to profitability. Okay, so don't let your emotions be tied up with your results. Let them be two different separate things. Okay, all right. Moving on to the next thing. Um, so this is probably one of the most important things that I'll probably go over within this video is fixing yourself as a trader. Okay, so you don't need any new strategy. You need a completely new version of yourself. Okay, think about trading as like a mirror. It reflects the person that you are. So like I'm looking at the camera and I see myself on my screen. That's the person that I am. Okay, if you lack discipline in real life, there's like very, very high chance that you're going to break your rules within the market. If you chase dopamine, so if you have like a fucking vape and you suck on that little thing and you want to get buzzed or whatever, you'll chase trades. You're gonna want that dopamine effect from that trading. If you lie to yourself, you're basically just going to justify all of your bad decisions. So what you need to do is fix the trader. Now, what does that mean? Okay, start waking up earlier, clean up your diet, start eating fucking healthier, start doing physical activities, go to the gym, go for a run, do whatever it is, go on a walk with your dog. Clean up your room. Do you guys see how clean my room is? Look at that. Spotless. I clean this shit every day almost. Alright? I wake up, the first thing I do is I make my bed. I swear to God, I make my bed as soon as I get out of bed. Why do I do this? It's not to show to the camera that I have a clean room. It's to prove to myself that I have discipline, that I have enough conviction to tell myself like, hey, I need to make my bed every single morning. Because if not, it's gonna bother me in my peripheral vision. Okay, and it's gonna distract me as a trader, and it just transfers over to the charts. It's a very simple thing. It's like if you don't have enough discipline outside of the charts, outside of the screen, you're not gonna have that discipline coming into the screen. Okay, if you can't step away from junk food, if you can't step away from uh, sodas or chips or whatever, how are you going to try to focus on the healthier foods? Your mind is just like constricted to this little dopamine hit that you get from fast food or whatever. Let's just say if you open a bag of chips, okay, let's just say that bag of chips has like 200 calories, okay, a bunch of fucking red 40, canola oils, all that kind of bullshit that you don't need. Your brain is going to start adjusting to that, saying, hey, this is what's good for me because I've been doing it for a couple days now, a couple of years now, honestly. And you're not going to want to try anything actually healthy. You're going to see like a steak, like a juicy looking steak, and you'll be like, nah, like I'm going to pass on that. You have to completely detach yourself literally um, from anything dopamine and literally just fix yourself as a person. What did I say? Start waking up a lot earlier than you usually do. Let's just say, for example, if you wake up 30 minutes before market opens, do you think you have enough time to like actually get out of bed, make your bed, sit down, do your draw on liquidity, mark out, daily analysis, whatever? No, you need to start waking up at least an hour before market opens. I wake up an hour and 30 minutes before market opens because I have a whole morning routine. And it's not something like I wash my face, I do like prayer, or I what is that shit called? Meditate, whatever. No, it's a simple thing. I wake up, I make my bed, make myself a coffee, fill my water bottle up, I sit down, I lock in on the charts. Okay? It's a simple thing. You don't need all, like, it's just a simple thing. You just need to do the simple stuff that'll get you discipline within your life. Okay? My bad for just going off track. But last and final thing, journal. I can't stress this enough for anyone because this is like a, bro, it's such a simple fucking thing. Journal every single one of your trades that you take. You can't improve on what you don't track, right? So let's just say, for example, if you're a runner, okay, and you don't track your times. Let's just say if I'm trying to run a 6 minute mile, okay, how are you gonna know what time you finish your mile when you don't have a watch or you don't have someone you know counting you, okay? You need to be able to journal every single trade that you take, whether it's a winning trade, whether it's a losing trade, whether you didn't even take a trade. Write it down. Write down, go on Notion.com, Google Docs, on your phone, whatever it is. Just go on there, write down exactly what you did today, how you came into the markets, how you felt about the markets, why you did take a trade, why you didn't take a trade, why you lost, whatever it is. It's such a simple thing that you guys need to understand. Like I literally just said, you can't improve on something that you cannot track. Okay. Journaling forces you to face all of your problems. Okay, all of your mistakes, your wins, your losses, and even your mindset. Okay, so and literally it takes maybe maximum of 15 minutes out of your day. You have 24 hours in a day, and a lot of you guys who trade don't even don't even do shit for the rest of the day. A lot of you guys just go play fucking video games for the rest of the day. It's 15 minutes. It is not hard to do. It's such a simple thing. All right. It'll give you that like going back to the discipline thing. It's a discipline thing. Coming into it every single day, knowing that you have to do it no matter what. Okay. And that it's just more data for you to become a better trader. Okay. So if you follow all of these 9 things that I just talked about, right? All right. If you're able to follow this every single day, and you could do it 100% every single day coming into the market, I can guarantee you that you will become a successful trader within uh, a couple months. Give yourself like a month of like consistently doing these things that we talked about today, and watch as you grow as a trader and even as a person. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned something new, took some notes, whatever. If you want to join my free Discord, the link is in the description of this video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, boys.